Hi, everyone, and welcome again to our Leaderonomics special. And in this very special Leaderonomics episode, we're going to feature Leaderonomics Digital. But, every day we've been talking about Leaderonomics. Every day we've shared a slightly different aspect of Leaderonomics. And today we're going to dive into Leaderonomics Digital. Hi, I'm Roshan Thiran, and I'll have a couple of guests with me. I'll have Eva Christodoulou, we have Nigesh Armon, and Sashe Kanapathi, who'll be joining me shortly. But in the last few days, we've been talking about different aspects of Leaderonomics. Why? Because Leaderonomics wants to grow, wants to scale, wants to become a global leader in the learning and engagement space. And one of the things that we're trying really hard to do is to get friends and family like you guys to be part of the Leaderonomics journey. So we have just launched our Series A, and we are working with Funnel, which is a Singapore-based company, investment house, and we're working with Funnel to launch Series A, both with the VCs, but also for friends and family, which will be an ECF round, and you'll see the link below, and we'll also put it in the social media feed. So if any of you have any questions, shoot them in the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer them at any point in time. So today we're going to do a deep dive into Leaderonomics Digital, and I'm going to invite over into the studio with me Eva Christodoulou, who's going to be joining me. So Eva, welcome to the special feature on Leaderonomics Digital. And why Eva? Because Eva's our R&D, or was our R&D head for the last couple of years. But in 2016, right, Eva, we had a very interesting conversation, right? I don't know whether you remember that conversation. Was it 2015 or 2016? I know we had this conversation. Me and you had a conversation, and I don't think it was a very long conversation, right?
No, not at all.
You want to tell us about the conversation or not?
No, so actually it was back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. I think we actually started working on it 2015. We officially launched 2016.
And tell us about that conversation, because that conversation will change your life, right? Because what were you doing back then, and what did you end up becoming?
Right. So I was with the corporate team in Leaderonomics, working on designing solutions for corporate clients. So designing long-term, short-term, different kind of learning solutions for clients. And Roshan sort of came over, and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And he's like, we need to get into the digital space, and learning is changing, and we really need to get it's all about, like, how do we get people to learn content about learning content in a way that they don't really need to spend so much time sitting in a classroom and taking away time from their work. How do we make it more effective? And that's how we really started Leaderonomics Digital. That was back in 2015, and we've changed quite a bit since then, but here we are.
And 2015 we started with an idea. 2016 we launched our first prototype. And Ismail, hello, and hello to everybody. Welcome to our show. We're talking about Leaderonomics Digital. The last few days, every day, if you missed it, you can go back to my LinkedIn posts, and you'll be able to see the first feature was me and Hui Meng talking about our early days and how we started, and some of the insights we learned from then. Yesterday's episode was on Leaderonomics Community, and today we are talking about Leaderonomics Digital. And Shala, again, great to have you. You were there yesterday. Shala's from KK. Thank you for joining us, our show again. Looks like you're a loyal Leaderonomer that is there. And of course, again, we've got Vicky Krishna. Eva was my first digital learning sifu, right? So Eva, Vicky, welcome back to the show, and great to see so many people. So today we're going to deep dive, and Eva just told us that in 2015, we had this idea, we need to somehow, we think the learning space is changing, and a lot of content needs to get digitized. But we didn't know how. In 2016, we started a partnership with CN, and we built what we call our first learning management system, right? And this led to reiterations of the management system. And today we have a pretty interesting learning management system. We call it the Be a Leader system, or the Leaderonomics Academy system. So let's see what we, one of our first products, I guess, in the digital space, our learning management system. And so, Eva, we had this big launch. We had actually it was pretty good, right? We had like about 30 customers, I think, right? Our early launch of the first learning management system with CN Cost Networking. I think we're a partner at that point in time, to build and help us drive that system. And we had interesting experiments, and we knew the learning space was changing, but we didn't understand exactly how, and we said we just needed to experiment. And I think, Shala, you say, keep rocking. You guys are doing a great job. Yes, the learning trends has changed, and we have to be a part of it. So we knew that. Now we knew we had to change, but we just didn't know how, right? And the only way we knew Leaderonomics way is let's just whack, right? Let's just go in and try and figure it out. And as we go along in the journey, we'll figure it out. So Eva, maybe just very briefly to share, what were some of your key learnings and insights in the first few years of the Leaderonomics digital journey when you first, you had to build a team, right, from scratch. You were employee number one, and then you sort of hired a couple of people. We thought it's about building content, and then we got Vicky out there, came and joined us. Tell us a bit some of your challenges in building the Leaderonomics digital ecosystem at that point in time. And this is 4-5 years ago.
Yeah, so we actually started out as a project team, not really a business unit per se. So we put up together a project team from across all different teams in Leaderonomics, and we started working on how do we create the perfect content. Well, back then we thought it was perfect content at that point for people to learn digitally. So we had to go do all the research from scratch because we didn't really have the expertise back then in terms of developing digital learning courses. So yeah, putting together the team in terms of working mostly on the content, and then looking at the platform as well, looking for the different platform providers, speaking to a bunch of different technology people that we had to talk to and see who would be a well-suited partner for what we were looking at. So very soon after that, we thought, okay, this is substantial enough to go into a full-blown business unit. So we actually brought in people full time to work on the team, and I think that was probably beginning of 2016, if I'm not mistaken. I think about March or April 2016, we actually officially launched it. So we had a party, like a learning session, and then the confetti and fireworks and all that in over at the start, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was the start.
So yeah, that was quite nice. We got the newspapers coverage and all that. So that was quite exciting to put together the launch. I think the team felt quite proud for actually putting together something that was so new for us, at least. Yeah, I mean, challenges were a lot for me, especially first time running a substantial team, and having the worry about bringing in revenue and going out and meeting clients, and making sure that the content is actually moving as well, all the marketing and the technology part. So yeah, a bunch of different challenges, but I think we sort of worked well the first year. I think we actually did quite a bit of, we did see significant progress actually, even the very first year. Back then, we were talking about, how do we make learning accessible and affordable enough for everyone to have access to? And I think this is something that we are still looking at today. So how do we make sure that it's scalable? It's something that everyone will have access to, everyone within an organization back then, because we were still very B2B. But yes, essentially everyone in the organization should have access to, systematic learning. So how do we make sure that we get there? And how do we make sure that it's affordable enough for companies to actually make sure that their employees are actually on board and they can have access to the learning? And then of course it's the engagement side. How do you make sure that they keep at it and they keep learning? So a lot of learnings that came from there as well.
Yeah. No, and it was exciting times, and honestly, I mean, we started with that dream, right? You said, how do we really give everybody access to learning, right? And how do we get that reach, right? And I see a couple more people have joined us. Nurain from Malakoff, I think, right? Very, very good to see you. Welcome to the show. And we're talking about Leaderonomics Digital, one of the arms of Leaderonomics. Yesterday we talked about Leaderonomics Community, and the day before we talked about the early days of Leaderonomics and how we were set up. So Eva, thank you so much. I mean, you were a very pivotal part of the setup because it was a lot of experimentation, a lot of trying, a lot of okay, we try this, it doesn't work, throw it away. It works, let's keep going, and going. But at some point in time in 2019, I think is where we started. No, you're back in the digital team today, so
Yes.
you're back in digital. So you're making a U-turn, one big round around all the different businesses, and you're back in digital. But we're back with Eva shortly. But one of the things that's very interesting is that as we started to explore Leaderonomics in 2017 and 2018, as Eva started to really look at the business and say, how can we build this business? We started to get a lot more clarity in terms of what we needed to do for this business. And one of the things that we started to look at was, how do we look at Leaderonomics Digital as really a cutting edge optimization infrastructure for learning and engagement, right? And enabling intelligence to be obtained from that, as a process. And so, we started to look and say, can we solve a couple of gaps? And some of the gaps that we wanted to solve is like, there were a lot of people working at attraction and management of talent, but how do we look at onboarding, development, and engagement of talent? And we started to deep dive and said, look, really, we need to focus. And in terms of the things, right, it was about focusing on platform, apps, and content, but also focusing on learning, assessments or intelligence, mentoring, coaching, and engagement. Really, that became our core focus. And that led to really the starting part was really driving content. How do we develop as much content as possible and enable the reach of content to happen? So, we started Leaderonomics.com. We had assessment center. We had audio with Spotify, a partnership there. We had web TV. We had whole bunch of events happening, and of course the Be a Leader library, which is that LMS offering that we were talking about, which I already launched. But it was taking it one step further. It was really going into systems and trying to understand how to develop apps and systems. And I'm going to invite, at this point in time, I'm going to invite Sashe Kanapathi to join us on the show. So Sashe, welcome, Sashe, welcome to the show. And you came in at a very interesting time because digital had launched. We kind of did a bit of figuring out what are we, who are we, oh my goodness. We were kind of struggling. And I think, I see some comments coming in. Thank you, Eva and the Pioneer team, for being patient and guiding me through this space. Also, my strategy guru, Dave, always hacking me down. So we had a whole bunch of people come in. We were hacking the business. We were beating up the business. We were splitting it. I don't know what we were doing, right? And we were just trying to figure out actually who we are and what we are. And I think when you came in, it was a very interesting time because I think we had a bit more clarity of what we wanted to do. We knew that we wanted to get into the learning engagement space, and we knew that we needed to look at systems that were cutting edge, that will take us through to the next level. So talk us through your early journey in Leaderonomics Digital. And you also transitioned. You were already in Leaderonomics in a corporate role similar to Eva. And
so actually, that's exactly what I was thinking, Roshan, when Eva was sharing, right? So 2016, when you guys did that launch in Star, that's when I joined the Leaderonomics family, actually, right? And I also went, I started in the corporate side and then moved over to the digital side, same as Eva, and same as the next person you're going to bring on, which is Nigesh, right? Started from the corporate side, moving to the digital side. So that seems to be the thing. And I was thinking about that because that's really interesting, because that's kind of what we pride ourselves in the fact that we're not a pure tech company out there to sell platforms, right? And I think that's one thing that we unlocked in the last few years is that learning's more than just putting a technology in front of a person and saying, go at it. It just doesn't work that way. You've got to build services. You've got to make it engaging. You've got to do something around it, right? It's got to be a holistic solution. And I think we realized that, right? I think kudos to you for 2015, 2016 to think about this in a different way, because people who are attending classroom training, that can't be for everyone. And as you see today, people have barely any attention span for a classroom training. You ask me to go for an 8-hour classroom training, I'll be like, okay, maybe not, right? So there's different. That doesn't mean there's no place for that, but there's a place for everything. And so we've really taken digital learning and looked at it from a very HR centric view and say, how do we add engagement over it? How do we get personalization over it? How do we get scalability out of it? And how do we solve problems with it? Not just give you a content library. Like the video that you showed, we started with a content library and say, go at it. Now we're saying, let's solve problems with this. And so it's evolved.
And so, two of the problems I think that you articulated, I guess, that at that point in 2018, 2019 with your team, is that we wanted to solve the learning problem. And the other problem that you wanted to solve was the engagement problem, right? Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so I think ultimately when you look at employees in a company, right, the two biggest levers strategically that you want to work on in an employee is their capability development that we solve with learning, right, and how engaged they are at the workforce, right? Because we all know employee engagement, translates directly to lots of positive metrics for a company. So we need to work on both of these. So what we've done is we've really gone out there and looked at it and say, how can we solve these either with solutions that we build, which we have, or partnering with leading edge companies out there with good solutions and bringing that together and making sure that these solutions work and they're contextualized to the needs of a company. So talking to companies, understanding what they need, building the right solutions around that, and then delivering it. So right now we're totally focused on learning and engagement. And I think the key part to that is a personal vision of mine, if I can share, is how do I get someone to build learning as a habit? I think that's really, really important because in today's day and age, everybody's so distracted. There's so much information out there. But we all know learning is important, but we never set aside time for it. So there is a real problem to solve here. And I think we're very motivated and dedicated to solve that problem.
And it's not just solving. I mean, so part of it is solving that problem, making learning a habit. Making it bite-sized, making it engaging. Because I mean, you look at all the platforms that are out there, the engagement rate or the completion rate. I mean, look at online learning is like 1%, 2%, 3% is like wow, amazing,
2 to 3%
right?
globally.
It's 2 to 3%. So I mean, 100 people taking it, 2 to 3. Percent that finish it, right? 4 is like wow,
paid for it, and 2 to 3% got value out of it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think solving those problems are important. But I think the other problem that was very interesting is that insight that I think you and your team started to look at, and Yasmin, you're absolutely right. Learning is a habit; it's a lifelong journey. And Madhuka, hello to you too. So we'll see more people. But one of the big issues that we figured out in learning is that learning needs to be just in time. And I had this insight a couple of years ago when I was talking about the fall of GE. So General Electric, I worked for GE for many years, right? And we all said Jeff Immelt, it's the right guy for the job. It's picked by Jack Welch, like one of the greatest CEOs. But Jeff Immelt failed, right? And one of the reasons I think that he failed is that GE had like 12 different industries. Each industry is so complex. And in each industry itself, there's so many levels of complexity. And you cannot learn enough to cover everything. And so more and more, we started to realize that we have a problem. Learning must come just in time. The learning must come to you when you need it, not try to learn as much as possible so that when the situation arises, you're able to address it, because there's more and more complexity in life, right? So we realized that was something, and that was a very interesting challenge that you were very excited about. And said, let's figure out how to get contextual learning at your time of need, right?
Right.
So tell us a bit about that project. I know it's not something that we've done, but it's like an aspiration, it's a dream, right?
No, I think that's exactly the point, right? I mean, we can't force learning down to someone if that learning is not applicable to them at their moment of need. If you teach me something today and I don't apply it in the next 3 months, maybe 3 days, I'll probably forget it, right? So if I can find your moment of need and I can give you learning at the moment of need, this solves a lot of problems. People automatically will, get attracted to learning. So we're working on that project. It's a long-term project, and that's where we need our funding money to go to, because that's a little bit of an R&D job right now. But we can actually really bring context to learning. See, learning is not just about content, right? That's where we started, but we've got to move into context, and we've got to move into real-time context. And that's a really good big problem to solve, right? That's the big, hairy, audacious goal. So getting real-time context. And we've got some ideas around that. We've got some very interesting solutions that we could build around that. But, it's work in progress.
Yeah. And people are saying just-in-time learning is kind of like Googling for a solution as soon as the problem arises. It is, right? But instead of Googling, right, the solution pops up to you, right? Even cooler, right?
And there's two things. One is Googling is pull. Imagine if that could be a push, like you said, Roshan. But secondly is context, right? When you Google, you get random content. Sometimes the content like conflicts each other. You have to go to page 3 to get really good content, right? Yeah. If it's curated and really good quality stuff, that's different.
Yeah. And it's possible. I mean, I remember when Microsoft first came out with Office many years ago, they had this cute little guy that pops up in your screen.
The clip.
Yeah. So he pops up and is like, hey, you have a problem with PowerPoint. Yeah, let me help you and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it's kind of, you kind of want to get to that point where learning, because there's so much data out there. If somebody knows you well enough, they know when you need something. I just got a Kindle and I was like, Amazon knows what books you want, and what books makes you happy, because they pop up and like, okay, that's interesting, right? So it's almost like that, but for a learning journey, right? Comment from Shella, not only solving, but I do believe in creating awareness to the public. We need to make them realize what is a habit. They need to know the basic fundamental of learning concept. I think that's a fantastic comment. But to Sashe's point, we are raising funds, Series A. We want to solve this problem. We want to be the first Asian guys out there that solve the problem. But Sashe, I think what's even more interesting is this whole what we've built, right? What we have built. I'm just going to share Yasmin's comment, and then I'll jump to where we're built. We need to apply the knowledge to solve problems and to create value. Then learning will be meaningful. You agree with that, right, Sashe? Absolutely. So thanks, Yasmin, for that comment. And one thing I'm amazed is that in just a year or year and a half, right? 2018, 2019, really a year and a half, the digital business moved from just a learning management system into a whole bunch of products. I'm just going to show a little video of some of our products, and Sashe, we're going to talk a little bit about products, and I get Nigesh on board to tell us about our most exciting product of the lot, I think, Necole. So let's have a look at what Leaderonomics Digital is today. From that one learning management system, today this is what the company has become. Sashe, it's quite amazing, right? In a short span, the company, Leaderonomics Digital, has grown so significantly. Talk us through that journey. I mean, there must have been challenges. You must have been wondering but how did you manage to take small idea and seed it into this huge tree that is it's an incredible HR infrastructure company today, or HR tech company. Tell us your secret.
I think no secret. I think it's the brand that Leaderonomics helps a lot, right? The fact that we've been in this business for 13 years, we understand HR. We have good relationships with lots of companies that we've served, And so we were able to understand what the problems are and what we need to solve, and which are the solutions that's needed for the market. So then also with our, you've built a reputation over 13 years. People trust you, right? And then so the clients trust you, but also the partners trust us. So when we go out and reach out partners to support us, because ultimately we're not a pure tech company. We're a HR company at heart. We have a vision and we have a mission that's all around HR. But we need tech expertise, right? So we needed to partner with people, and that's very important. It's an ecosystem of people that makes this work, internally as well as externally. We had some challenges. We had some financial challenges. We had a team that rotated. That was 1 year where we had a whole new team come in and then replace the previous team, and so we got to get started again. But these are part of the growing pains of a company. So I think that's all fun challenges.
Fabulous. Sashe, we'll get you back in a second. I'm going to get Nigesh because I think one of the most exciting products we have is Necole. And Nigesh is our product manager of Necole. So Nigesh, welcome to the show. And you look like a product manager, man, with your I guess, yeah. And
if anything, I gotta look the part. Gotta look the part.
You have the mic. I mean, you look better than me, Dan. Right? So I gotta fix that. Yeah. But Nigesh, I always, we kind of had Necole. I think it was 2019. I think it's 2019, right, when we started dialogue on Necole and getting it up and running, and working with our partner at that point in time, Adcast, and trying to figure out how to make that whole thing happen. And I remember sometime in March, where just before, I think it was a day before they announced. I think they gave us like 1 or 2 days notice, and they said, "Look,
I'll correct you on that day. If you're telling that story, it's on the day itself."
Yeah. So I remember, I was like, look, then I we went around to I think it was Sashe and a couple of the digital guys. I'm like, look, what are we doing for digital? When are we going to launch Necole? Oh, we want to launch it next week, or 2 weeks time, or 3 weeks time. Like, but the product's not yet ready fully. I mean, we were, stuff was not really ready. We didn't quite understand how big Necole could have been and how it could have transpired. And I remember, forcing a couple of guys, I said, guys, can you speak Hokkien? Can you speak Mandarin? Can you get into a room and let's make a little video on Necole? I was like, what's Necole? I'm like, we'll figure it out, right? And it led to some very creative videos. And I want to share one that I thought was really interesting that we did in Hokkien. I don't know whether it's here, but maybe I'll show the one in Bahasa. Let me just show this little video.
Bro, apa dia? Aku message kau 50 kali, tak balas.
Alah bro, aku tak ada time lah bro message. Aku sekarang tengah Necole bro. Necole lah, itu dia in sekarang. Tengah trending tengah kacau.
Kau cakap apa? Apa tu?
Necole. Kau tak tahu Necole? Google kau tahu? Necole kau tak tahu? Tak, Necole app untuk belajar bro. Semua tengah belajar guna Necole sekarang. Ilmu semua tengah guna Necole.
Share sikit lah.
Boleh bro, kau tengok macam ni bro.
Okay.
Kau kalau kau lembab, kau kena Necole bro.
Memang aku lembab sikit sebenarnya.
Bro, kalau kau nak laju, kau nak top, kau nak jadi CEO, kau kena guna Necole. Kau tahu kena pergi mana? Digital.leaderonomics.org. 200 je bro tahun.
Aku buat tu aku tak lembab dah.
Tak tahu bro, capacity kau macam mana. Tapi aku rasa Necole ni boleh tolong kau lah bro. Confirm.
Okay. Berapa?
RM200 je bro tahun.
Boleh lah duit raya pakai ya.
Selamba bro. Ni kau tengok ni bro. Cahaya bro, kau tengok ni. Ini daripada Howard bro. Power bro. Oi,
memang cantik.
Apa ni? Jangan ambil aku nya.
Okay.
Aduh.
Sorry. Aku teruja sangat lah.
Ni tak apa kita tunggu sini.
So Nigesh, we launched, we prematurely launched Necole to the world. But it was good, right? Because in the end, the what we thought was a 2-week lockdown ended up being a 4-month lockdown.
Yeah.
Right? 4 months where we couldn't quite go to office or do stuff. But talk us through Necole, because Necole is very exciting, right? Because it's a learning experience system. There's not many out there. And Yasmin, thanks. Nice ad. We did that in about 15 minutes, I think, or 20 minutes, because we did like 8 or 10 ads in different languages, all on Necole, all the hours before the country shut down at 12 midnight. I think we all left, or 11 something, where we all left to head back to our homes. But Necole's transformed, right? Necole is an amazing product today, right? It has engagement, it has a whole bunch of talk us through that a little bit, Nigesh. Talk us through
So
Necole.
I think that example that you gave about that whole video thing. So I'll also add on one more example. I remember this 10 a.m. in the morning on the day that we're about to go into lockdown. Roshan walks right into the office, calls me over, and says that, hey, on top of these videos that we're doing for Necole, we got to think of something that we can do for the public for 2 weeks. People are going to be home for 2 weeks. We need to create either something online, something virtual that they can log in every day, just spend 1 hour engaging with either subject matter experts or experts all around the world. And let's get that out. Let's do this for this next 2 weeks. At least people are learning something at home. And that's what is at the heart of what Necole is as well. I think if anything, Necole is our digital heart that is going out there to everybody. We, for anything and everything that we say, Leaderonomics, the brand, we stand for what those three things are, that is growing, transforming, and building the nation. So, taking that into mind, we started thinking about, okay, we've got Necole here. Yes, Necole was launched in 2019, but we used it internally more than anything else because we were trying to figure out how can we exactly bring that value to people. And we started figuring out, okay, as we got digital, as we tried all these different things. And if anything, I have to say about Roshan, yes, he may throw a spanner at us once in a while, but those spanners are actually ideas to spark what exactly we can do to serve people better. And especially when it comes to learning and engagement. Things that Sashe was talking about before, where people are now not willing to spend 8 hours in a class sitting down. More so when we got digital, it's so hard to sit down even for 2 hours in front of the screen. And that's difficult. But how are people learning? People are learning through, simplest example, I need to learn how to edit a video. I'm going to go on YouTube. I'm going to look at a video, quickly try it and learn it. That is at the heart of it. And Necole, if one thing, the way that we serve content is through micro learnings, because you want to get to that contextual needs base at the point when you need it. But to build the learning habit, it's not easy. If we want to tell anybody at all, like, look, here's a tool. There's everything in there for you. Let me call out some names. Like say Udemy or Coursera or something like that. It's a web-based tool. Yeah, you can go in there. You can have a lot of learning content in there. You give that to somebody. People will look at it and say, oh, okay, sure. What exactly am I going to do with this? And that's why you see that 2% engagement rate. So we really thought hard about what worked for us last time. And this is where that whole knowledge of coming from corporate, serving people in context taught us that, look, we need to deal with the human being who's actually using the app. And how we design Necole and Necole engaging with them has to be human-centric. So this is where a few slides ago you saw guided learning. Use our knowledge, use our ability to instructionally design things to actually bring in guided knowledge. It shouldn't be long. It should be something like, at a maximum, in a week, you'd spend about an hour on that. But it's fruitful hour that you spend in that week. By the end of a year, you probably would have learned a huge topic like leadership. You would have learned that, or technology, or wellness. So if we say that, look, here's an app, let us guide you a little bit. Let us hold your hand a little bit and bring you through how you can use it. We'll guide you. We'll serve you some contents. Great. And then you say, look, if you're interested in more, there's a lot more. Go crazy. Access all these contents that are coming in from the web itself. Yes, we have an AI engine running on Necole, which is reading and personalizing content to people. So again, it is content that is relevant to you. And after that, look, you don't have to be alone on Necole. What works so well with social media or apps like that? It is the social validation. It's the social space that you get to be in. You get to learn with people. You get to feedback with people. And if, let's say, you're spending just 15 minutes in the morning on that app, and in that 15 minutes, you learn something, you get to talk to somebody, you get to feedback and learn a bit more, and you go through your day thinking that, hey, this is something I can try out right now, right here, in the next hour or so. That makes learning very powerful. And to add on to that, being Leaderonomics, I guess this is where the brand really helps. The network that Roshan built in the early years, which now we use, these global speakers and experts who are all out there. Why don't we bring them on? And that's the thought. Why don't we bring them on to create that accessibility for everybody? Now,
Right.
you don't have to.
Yeah. And again, you have some prominent people on Necole now, right? I mean,
yeah,
those names, right? Because I know Jack Canfield is there.
Correct.
Rosie Ginsburg. I mean, who are some of these prominent people that who is also sharing content, right? So I mean, people can learn from other people. So you don't have to learn from curated content. You can also learn from other people and what they share and what they are kind of using. Right?
Exactly. So one thing I have to highlight is this. We just recently ran an event, a public talent acceleration event on Necole called Bounce Back. And imagine running a public talent acceleration program on a digital tool. And that's what digital really enables us to do. And this is where we got to bring all these people like Jack Canfield, John Register, Anthony Trucks, who else? I was just speaking to one of them today, Jean Marie, all these people coming on Necole, spending time there, spending an hour a week to just be on Necole, be live there, share knowledge according to themes, run Ask Me Anything sessions, run coaching sessions, help people go through a growth track. That's what got enabled on Necole. And I'll say this from a personal standpoint as well. Like, I knew these people and I only interact with them when, let's say, there's a need, right? And when Roshan says, hey, I want you to talk to this person about something. But what Necole has done, and this whole bounce back event that we did on Necole, now I'm having conversations with them. Me having this mic is not simply there for any reason. I run podcasts as well. But because of Necole, I'm able to now reach out to them quickly and just say, hey, I love your content. I saw it on Necole. I love what you're teaching. Can I have a conversation with you and have a 1-hour podcast with you? Most of them are really nice people and they'll immediately say yes. So that accessibility now is available to me just because of that app. And that's a personal story. What about the rest? What about everybody else who's using? Imagine if you can now converse with these people without needing to go for a huge event before you can see them. You can converse with them every day. So this is what Necole, being needs-based contextual learning in your hand, happening every day, every moment for you.
Very powerful too. And Shella says, knowing the purpose, then you can create the opportunity.
Definitely.
I would like to know more. Please advise Roshan. So Nigesh, go talk to Shella. She wants to know about Necole. And we can build a learning habit once we understand the purpose of learning. But Necole is cool, right? Because it's like Netflix. Right, it has Netflix there, but it also has Facebook and LinkedIn elements where there's community, there's engagement. You can follow people. Like LinkedIn has what we call influencers. We have Necole experts, right? So I'm just going to show a quick 30-second clip on Necole and the power of Necole. Okay, we're going to invite Sashe and Eva back to join us in a bit. But Nigesh, I'm going to ask you, which is your favorite Necole ad?
Which is my favorite Necole ad?
Yeah.
Can I be vain and say the last one we just saw over there?
Okay. Among the early ones that we made with all the different languages, which one's your favorite?
Okay. I have to say the English and BM one because I understood what was being said. The rest of it, I thought it was pretty cool. Like we did one in Hokkien, if I'm not mistaken, with two of our colleagues as well. Yeah, and it sounded like two people who were in Penang talking about an app, which was rather cool. And considering that, again, this is the heart of what Leaderonomics is. If we find a way to add value to people, we'll do it instantly. That was all done in like 15 minutes.
And Hokkien is what I hear from my Hokkien friends is that it's a dying language. People are trying to preserve it. So we're doing our part to preserve Hokkien through Necole. So check this out.
Jackie 你有冇聽啲咧叫 app 叫 Necole 是什麼？唔是啦，我教你講 app 啦嘛。嘅你看啲 Necole 你看，依家了有真正係 article、podcast、courses 嘅啊。我教你講啊，你愛變好名，愛好名啊，定啲你愛吞類喎。吞這類咯。啊，所以啊，你特別用 Necole，真係說你睇啦，你看article 嘅咧，你睇啦，你變真搞嘅知無？唔要無，我看啲。有年你看啲 article 看按照好名，按照吞這類，哇！呀，你睇，你一個看好了嘛，真來就搞。有啦，教你講了嘛，你咪聽，當見你特別去看，特別看個了，睇個了。你講你真搞啦，OK，好，等你先好到來。
All right. So and Shella wants to know more. And for those who want to know more, we'll be putting Nigesh email out there, so you can email him and or send an email to info@Leaderonomics, and we'll get you more information. Necole, I'll go to Necole.app. Right. So maybe our producer will put up Necole.app in a second, so we can see. Just go Necole.app and you'll get all kinds of details on Necole. So that's
I'll stalk and I'll find you guys and I'll say hi. Let's talk.
There you go. Necole.app. Check out. Where's my camera? Okay, there you go. Check out this the link at the bottom here, and we'll put the link on social media also. So Nicole's cool app. We've got Happily. So I'm gonna invite Sashe and look, Willie's loving the Hokkien version. When I saw the Hokkien version, I'm like, and then I showed my wife and a few others, right? I'm like, the Hokkien people just love the Hokkien version, right? So check it out. And we although Hokkien I don't think is a written language, but we can put videos in Hokkien on Necole. That's a possibility, right? That's something that Necole can do. So we're gonna invite Eva and the rest back into the conversation. So Eva, welcome back, and Sashe, welcome back. You've been long suffering, waiting for us to get you
enjoying it.
into the organization or into our conversation. Okay, somebody's playing around with our Hokkien. Willie, I'm not sure why your thing keeps popping up. But good stuff, Willie. And Shala says amazing, great stuff, everyone. So I want to close out this conversation. One of the things that we are doing in Leaderonomics is that we are raising funds, right? So we are doing a series A, and we are raising funds. So if you go to tinyurl.com/LDR fund, FUNDEL, and we'll put the link on the social media feed, so you can go to the social media feed either on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are. We'll put the links in there so you can check it out. We are trying to get as many of you to be part of the Leaderonomics family, to become our owners, our shareholders, to help us to grow and to help us to scale. I'm going to ask each of you, as we close out, right? And maybe I'll start with Eva. Ladies first. Sorry, guys, but we'll start with Eva, since she looks the nicest among us. I must say, unfortunately. But Eva, what would be your final thoughts for today? And what sort of advice or insights that you want to give us on 2021? What are you excited about for Leaderonomics? And as we chart this new journey, I mean, we talked about community journey. It's so exciting. There's so many things happening in the community space that we're doing. But this is our digital journey, infrastructure, to help people, to help organizations, to enable learning, to enable engagement, to go deeper, to drive impact, and to enable us to reach more people, right? So what are you most excited about, and what are you looking forward to 2021 with Leaderonomics, and your final piece of advice? Go ahead, Eva.
Yeah, so I think you briefly mentioned earlier, I left the team, and then I just rejoined the team like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. For me, it's very exciting because I was there from the beginning of the team, and even before then, like looking at the progression that we've seen in Leaderonomics in general. But for the digital team specifically, because I think we started with a grand idea, it changed a lot over the years, and I'm happy to see that the change has been so massive, especially in the last couple of years. And I think it's very exciting because we are covering things that we never really thought before. But I think there's a plan, and there's a plan that is actually very logical, and it's with the intention of actually helping everyone that uses these different tools. And yeah, we do have the learning side and the engagement side as well. And I think it's a good match. It's a good match to have both and cover both. And everyone is sort of moving into this digital world. We just had to buy my 6-year-old a laptop the other day, which is insane. So that's where we're headed, and there's no way to get around it. So I think it's just a matter of embracing it and see how we can actually make it work for the users, and not just the companies and the people making money out of it.
Yeah, and I think the other great thing about your journey in Leaderonomics, Eva, is that you've been in Leaderonomics for what, 7 years, 8 years now. I think 9 years, right? And you've had 4 or 5 different roles, maybe more, in Leaderonomics. I mean, if you count the project roles that you do, right? So you've been in publishing, right? So you were part of the newspaper team in Leaderonomics to produce a weekly pullout. You were part of the R&D team. You were part of the corporate team doing proposals and others. You're also part of the L&D team, leading the Growing Together team. And now you're back to run a product, right? Happily. So maybe 30 seconds. quick promo on Happily, because Happily is so cool, right? Tell us a bit about this cool 2021. The most exciting thing in Leaderonomics Digital, I think, is Happily, right? So Nigesh, you are the 2021. You are 2020. We will continue to be exciting, but I am super excited about Happily, right? So tell us, and Eva's the new product manager for Happily. I think you will assume the role, or you have already assumed the role. I think, I don't know. But tell us, tease us a bit about Happily and how exciting that is.
No, first of all, I think Necole is still very exciting, and there's a lot of new things coming this year. So watch out. So on Happily, I think it's definitely a really, really interesting solution, I suppose, for organizations. So it's an engagement tool. It's an engagement app. It basically measures and assists with engagement in employees. So in a really cool, fun way that it's really not that intrusive, because it literally just takes a few seconds of your day every morning, and that's pretty much it. But it allows people to receive recognition, give recognition. It allows conversations to get started between manager and team members. It allows people to sort of get rewards because they're collecting coins, and they can actually redeem these rewards. And actually, we just finished a study, a mini sort of survey internally as well, and we found that there are a lot of these features that people appreciate a lot, even things like monthly peer feedback, that people take the time to actually give a little bit more detailed feedback to people. So there's a lot of things that can actually facilitate this, remote working, and how to make sure that people stay engaged, and just do it in a really fun way that it doesn't feel like a drag and yet another system that we have to log in and type information in and all that.
Absolutely. So thanks so much. We were super excited to have Eva back on the digital team. So 9-year journey. This is a second stint in the digital space, and Happily is going to be the product of 2021. So Nigesh, Necole, what's in store for us, and why is this so exciting, and why should people want to become our shareholders and owners in Leaderonomics?
So I would say that we started off with a library, and then we went on to creating guided learning, and then we went on to creating social learning. Now we're going even deeper to contextualize the learning to different industry sets. That's something we're building. Then we're now creating ways that we can create accountability partners within Necole, so that you don't have to just be alone. There'll be people actually reminding you to learn as well. You can also find your own talent framework that's going to be on Necole. And also then imagine bringing the rest of it, which is all these paid premium content on top of all the free stuff that you get on Necole. Now it's over 35,000 different content that is free on Necole. And on top of that, we're going to have paid content. And like Happily, we also are going to create our own little currency on Necole where you get rewarded and you can buy all these contents. But I think most importantly, I think it's not going to be a tool that sits alone just as a digital tool. It's a tool that is going to blend your own real life living, things that you do on a day-to-day basis with digital. And I think that's the best marriage of digital and real life. And that's what Necole's got in store for you for 2021.
Fantastic. And then Sashe, your final thoughts before I want to close out on one of those special things that we do that connects all our businesses. So Sashe, your final thoughts for today?
Okay, well, I'm excited to have Nigesh and Eva on the team and leading the efforts. That's fantastic for 2021. But I'll just talk to everyone out there. Listen, if you haven't thought about your digital strategy, or even if you have, give us a call. Seriously, check us out. We've got some cool stuff happening. So you've got to call us.
And really, I mean, simple. You can, if you feel that you need to connect with any of us, Nigesh, you can shoot an email to Nigesh, or you can shoot an email to myself, and I'll put my email out in a second, or send an email to info@leaderonomics.com, and we'll be able to connect with you. One of the exciting things I think is that in our business, we have this thing called the science of building leaders. And we have this framework, not just for adults to learn leadership, but also for young kids and for parents to be better parents and to be better leaders. And one of the things I'm really excited about in Necole, right, is the fact that we do little programs So we have this thing called the T52 to teach people about technology. Every week you get something, a nugget or a bite size on technology, or L52, which is teaching people about leadership, or W52, which is well-being, or E52, which is teaching entrepreneurs. One of the things that Eva, I think, and her team worked on a lot was really this thing called Y52, is how do we help youth to become better leaders using science, using innovation, using the not just the technology, but the science behind leadership. And so I'm going to end, and we're going to close it today. So goodbye, everyone. We'll see you again, hopefully on Monday for the next show, where we go deeper into Leaderonomics. So we've had 3 shows. We'll have another 3 shows next week on diving deeper into Leaderonomics. We're talking to our customers. But I'm going to end with a little insight on how to be a better parent, how to be a better youth, and what our SOBL, Science of Building Leaders, is doing inside Necole through this program called Y52. So goodbye, everyone. Have a great Thursday. We will end with this little show on Y52.
Let's try to think. How do you think we came to develop our worldviews? Were we born with it? Did someone teach us? Maybe our parents? Worldviews are learned and developed from experiences that we share with family members, friends, teachers, loved ones, etc. We also learn this through indirect experiences when we watch TV, read books, listen to music, scroll through our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any kind of social media really. At times, we may develop certain worldviews through our family members telling us certain things. For example, you need to study hard. If you don't study hard, you will end up being a road sweeper. So from this, you get the belief that if you don't study hard, you won't succeed in life. As you go on in life, you may get other similar experiences that reinforce that belief, and slowly it grows on you and it becomes a part of who you are. Or maybe you get experiences that contradict the belief. You see that some of your friends don't need to study hard and yet they get straight A's. Or you hear of that famous person that dropped out of college and suddenly developed his own product like Steve Jobs. Then you start to think, how did these people succeed in life but they didn't study hard? Maybe it's because they are smart. From these, you may start to develop yet another belief. You're not smart enough. Maybe that's why you need to study hard and get straight A's. This is an example of how our worldviews, beliefs, and mindsets are developed.
Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Yasmin, thank you for your comments. All the best, Leaderonomics team, and thank you, Sashe, Nigesh, and the gang, and Shella. Thanks for being very engaging in this. I'm going to end with just sharing a little bit on Necole and some exciting quotes from customers. I am personally excited. I'm personally. Let me just grab this banner out from Shella. So that it doesn't block the view. Okay, I'm personally learning so many new things and also identifying things that within me have been doing. This Ananti, who is the CEO, I think, of one of the biggest NGOs around. So Ananti, is super excited. She's a user of Necole. We also have others like Michael Herrera, who says very comprehensive, laden with possibilities, and of course, finally, Ong Yu Hop, who's a coach. It encourages quality conversation between bosses and so on. So everyone, thank you so much. We will see you on Monday again on the Leaderonomics, the show about Leaderonomics and why you should be part of our Leaderonomics family. Join us on Monday. We'll see you. Take care. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.